Do I need my glasses? Oh, I think I do. Hey, we are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. Let's go tonight. Who won this draft? What a crazy draft it was. Lots of attention for our man, Shedeur Sanders, rightfully or wrongfully, I guess I can say. Shedeur Sanders got a lot of coverage. But as you know, there were a lot of teams. Now, people are saying Arizona did pretty good. Seattle did pretty good. Indianapolis did pretty good. Jacksonville did pretty good. Kansas City did pretty good. Vegas, wow. What in the heck? Are they giving everybody A's and B's here? Yeah, I got to go to another site. I'm on NFL. Looking right now, I think the NFL hasn't given anybody lower than like a B. So let me look and see what some other outside sources outside of the NFL gave this draft. I will say I thought that, some teams were very smart. Even Kansas City was smart. They made that trade. They're saying on Fox Sports, do you believe them or not? Let me just make sure I'm looking at the right year here. NFL, okay, 25 winners and losers. Winners, Detroit Lions. What say you? Did the Detroit Lions? Yes. What's up, Nathaniel? Hey, Daniel Berry is Sports Highlight is on. We're on TikTok as well. Fox Sports is saying he liked the Lions draft. I don't know. Los Angeles Chargers. Now, Los Angeles Chargers had some quietly big news today, and I say that oddly because it is odd. J.K. Dobbins is an unrestricted free agent, so another team can pick him up, but if no one signs him, then he goes back to the Chargers, apparently, is how that works. So it looks like since they got Najee Harris that they have big plans for Najee and not so much plans for J.K. Dobbins. Now, Dobbins, it was only his first year with the Chargers. He was with Baltimore before that. But he had mild success his rookie season, 805 yards rushing. This past season, he had 905, a total of 1,058 or something like that, because he had 153 yards receiving. Maybe not the best receiving running back there ever has been, but if you notice, Steelers had a fantastic draft. I would say the Steelers had a good draft. I did think that, they might have tried to get a little bit better quarterback. I think they chose their quarterback in the 6th round. Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Fox team, Fox Sports, that is saying that Pittsburgh, the Giants didn't have a bad draft. They're saying that Pittsburgh lost. I don't really have a problem with the Steelers' actual draft class so much as what it means moving forward. Derek Harmon is a badass football player, and Caleb Johnson was destined to play running back in Pittsburgh. The Steelers even acquired some value at quarterback with Will Howard. So what on earth does it mean? Clearly, the Steelers don't feel the same urgency at quarterback as we expected. So there's a lot of talk around the internet, around whatever you want to call it, around sports, saying that a lot of people feel like possibly a deal might be done with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Now, I'm not really necessarily getting that fact, or I'm not seeing anything else other than speculation. And, they must have a deal with him. I don't know if that's the case, but I didn't feel like the Steelers were pressing, or have been pressing for that matter, to get a quarterback. Let's take Shedeur Sanders out of the equation. I didn't feel like, I want to say they got Will in the 7th round. Let me go back to the other site, NFL draft. And this is USA Today. No, this is not what I'm looking for. Where are we at here? The NFL draft is under. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so if we go to, where are we at? It's in alphabetical order. I can't screw this up too much, can I? Where is this? No, this is not a winner. Shedeur Sanders, 49ers defense. Loser, Shedeur Sanders, Justin Tucker. No, this isn't what I'm looking for, though. But I will say, okay, there's New York Times. Are they actually going to let me read this? No, of course not. All right. I got Fox Sports up. Let's see. 7 biggest on day one. Oh, he's updated this. But yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers, it's alphabetical, so just bear with me here. Pittsburgh Steelers, boom, boom, boom. Come on, we're in the ends. Okay, Derek Harmon, Oregon. They liked him, but this is day one. I got to get to all the days here. Snap grades. That's not going to help me out at all. No, they're changing everything around here. I can't find the same articles. Final snap grades. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Now let me go. All right, Pittsburgh. Okay, now this is from NFL.com. Now they're not really. I don't think they gave anybody below a B. So that's kind of not. Like they're gonna be nice to the teams. Let's just be honest here. Pittsburgh, they gave an A to Derek Harmon, and they got Will Howard in the 6th. I'm sorry, that's right. It was a round behind Shedeur. That's right. Will Howard from Ohio State. And they're saying the Steelers got an A. Fox Sports is not like what the Steelers did. So there is that. I don't quite understand what Cleveland did by getting a quarterback in the 3rd and then getting Shedeur. As someone had said earlier today, it's almost like they picked the guy they wanted with Schaff, and then they said, oh, Shedeur's still around? Well, we'll take him now. It was almost like that, the way I looked at it. So let's see. When it comes to losers, Fox Sports is saying Atlanta lost. I don't think they like the pick of Pierce. They said Cincinnati lost. Basically because Shamar Stewart didn't have a lot of sacks in college is what they're blaming it on. Houston Texans lost. Perfect quality versus quantity. Okay, and then they said the Saints lost. Hey, Sideline Fans Moderator wants to join. Hey, Sideline Fans Moderator. Oh, hey, Sideline Fans Moderator, what do you have to say about the draft?
Yeah, I don't know why the Browns would pick Shedeur, because I think he's the 5th quarterback on that team.
Well, but here's the thing. Deshaun Watson's not going to play this year. So somewhere along the line, they have 4 quarterbacks. They have Flacco, Pickett, Schaff, and Shedeur. I think Shedeur might start at least a few games this year, because you got to think of it like this. Flacco's older. We saw in Indianapolis, he can have some good games. He can have some not so good games. Pickett's on his 3rd team in 3 years. That's not a good sign. And Schaff, by a lot of people's admission, wasn't as. What's that?
You mean 3rd team in 3 years?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said 1st team in 3 years.
Oh, 3rd team in 3 years. And so I just think that I think Shedeur might get a chance. Basically because Schaff might not be ready to start this year. Or it'll take him a little bit more time. The theory is that, can you talk up a little bit? You're really low, and I probably can't hear you on YouTube, but the people on YouTube can't hear you. But they think that Schaff might not be ready to start this year. So go ahead.
Isn't Schaff the rookie that they picked ahead of Shedeur?
Yeah, they picked him in the 3rd round, I believe. Yeah.
Why would they waste a 5th round on another quarterback?
Well, the theory is, well, I'm not saying he's a number 1 quarterback. I think Flacco's the number 1 quarterback. The fans like him. He did well He's got the most experience. I think though, I think it's basically his job to lose. The problem of it is I think that they got Dylan Gabriel is like somebody that can play in 2 years or 3 years, like a little bit of a project. And then, and I agree with this. Someone had made mention that, it was almost like in the 5th round, the Browns were ready to pick and they said, Shedeur Sanders is still available. Let's just take him. It almost does feel like that. Like, he's still around. We'll take him. Let's go. Like, if we're going to pick the best talent in every round, supposedly it's always between what they need, what they want, and the best talent. And they probably said, hey, it's the 5th round. Let's take a flyer on him. He's not going to cost us a lot because we're taking him in the 5th round. So that's I tend to agree with that. They took 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. Their defense, their first 2 picks was Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, 2 defensive players. Their defense is pretty good. Okay. They needed some offense. They needed obviously a running back. Chubb is on rehab, but he's a free agent and he's trying to work his knee really well. But, for the most part, their last 5 picks were all offense: running back, tight end, quarterback, running back, quarterback. And I think Shedeur Sanders, they just said, oh my God, he's still available. We got to take him. But what does this do for Arch Manning? Because the theory, or one of the theories I kept hearing going into the draft, was the fact that Cleveland might be tanking it for the possibility of getting Arch Manning, and when they traded, let's see, their trade, when they traded out, I thought that might have been a sign. I thought that it might have been a sign that they were, maybe they were going to try to tank. So, but they didn't. But anyway, that's just kind of the way I'm looking at, the Shedeur. I think there are, like the Bengals had defense, and then they had an offensive guard, offensive tackle, and a running back. So, and they don't need a running back real well. Chase Brown does a good job there. I thought the Bears did very good. I thought they did, they got a tight end, a wide receiver, they got another offensive tackle and an offensive guard. So they're shoring up their offensive line, which is so important. I thought the Bears really did well. I think people are looking at, like I said, people are saying Baltimore did good. They did help out. They had a lot of picks and they helped out their defense a lot. They picked a safety and an edge and a linebacker in the first 4 rounds. They had 3 defensive players. So in hindsight, they did do well. Buffalo shored up their defense. They need better defense. They picked up defensive players their first 5 picks, which I thought was good. Carolina made some smart moves with Ted McMillan as their first round pick. I thought that was good. They need somebody to go with Adam Thielen, I thought, so that was good. Let's see here. Cleveland was okay. I don't understand the 2 quarterbacks, but as I said, I do think it was
the Chiefs did really well.
Yeah, the Chiefs did well, and actually Dallas didn't do as bad as I thought they might. I was surprised that they didn't they didn't get a wide receiver. That was the speculation going in, that they would get a wide receiver, like a second kind of wide receiver, but they got 2 running backs, but I don't know if they're even, you don't know in those rounds, 3rd, 4th round, that the players even make the team. Detroit did okay. I think some people said Detroit won. I wouldn't say that. They were very standard. They picked a lot of defense.
Did terrible.
Yeah, Buccaneers did terrible. Green Bay did okay. Matthew Golden. They again picked 2 wide receivers. They already have 4 They have 4 wide receivers they already passed to, but they picked up 2 more. Houston did okay. They got 2 wide receivers within the first 3 rounds. They got a running back. They don't really need one, and they got like a backup kind of quarterback. So Indianapolis, I thought, did well with Tyler Warren, the tight end. And then they got a good edge player from Ohio State, Tuimoloa. I am not good with those names. Okay, but yeah, Jacksonville, Travis Hunter, some big names they got. Travis Hunter, they got a running back, Bashal Tutin from Virginia Tech. So they didn't do bad. Kansas City, yeah, they got an offensive tackle, which they needed. They got a defensive tackle, edge, cornerback, wide receiver. So they actually probably helped themselves out a little bit more defensively in their first 4 rounds. They got they had 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, and 3 of them in the first 3 rounds were out of the 4 picks. 3 of their first 4 picks, let's just say, were defense. And I think they did need to work on their defense a little bit. But, now with J.K. Dobbins as a free agent, I mean, unless I don't know something, why wouldn't you go after him? I don't think Kansas City's defense. Now, here's the thing. I think Kansas City overvalued their running backs a little bit. I don't think they were very good at all this past season. And with Isaiah Pacheco getting injured and Kareem Hunt did okay, but it wasn't like he was putting up. I don't know that he had 100-yard or more than 100-yard game after about week 10 maybe. And Pacheco didn't seem to be himself, so I don't know why they wouldn't go after J.K. Dobbins. He did have 905 yards in just rushing, that is, in 13 games. So pretty good numbers. Pretty good numbers that way. So yeah, I would say, Kansas City did.
Which team would you say drafted the worst?
Well, I
would say the Dolphins.
Dolphins. Well, part of that is they just didn't pick up a lot of offense. They picked up a lot of defense. I mean, they have defensive tackle, cornerback, safety, defensive tackle. Yeah, the Dolphins didn't do well. I don't think Minnesota did much. They didn't have a lot of picks. So Minnesota didn't do anything to win me over. They got an offensive guard in the first round.
They traded or something? Or no?
They could have. I forget all the trades now. I'm sure they made a trade. I think they did. But I don't have. I have the list here I have doesn't say whether or not they traded people, but let's see. I think they did. Okay, the Vikings later traded for Sam Howell, a 5th-round pick from Seattle, then sent 5th-rounder acquired in that deal to the Rams for a pair of 6th-round choices, which Minnesota used on stout inside backer King. Yeah, so they made a few trades that day. Okay, but they only had 6 picks in 7 rounds. They had 1 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the 5th. No, they only had 5 picks. What am I saying? Yeah, Minnesota only had 5 picks. They had 1 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. So they just didn't really acquire anybody. New Orleans, I guess they did okay. They picked Tyler Schuff, the quarterback, who went way ahead of Shedeur Sanders. So what was I saying? Cleveland got Carolina, Buffalo. I think I was referring to Schuff. They got Dylan Gabriel. That's who it was. Yeah. I just don't think that, New Orleans did not have a great draft either. I mean, they really didn't. They picked Tyler Schuff. I guess they figured Tyler Schuff is going to replace Derek Carr. I guess that's the way they're looking. They shored up with Kelvin Banks. They shored up their line, or tried to at least. I mean, you got to remember, every pick here that I'm talking about, that that you guys have read about, that you watch get drafted, they may or may not even make it in this league. I mean, that's how difficult it is in professional football. Let's see here. With a poor attitude and isn't coachable. They might just
bounce to the XFL.
Oh, yeah, let's see. It's pronounced Shuck. Oh, it's Shuck? I thought they were saying Schuff. Thank you, Drip, if you're still there on YouTube. Dude, I felt so bad when the kid prank called Shedeur. So did I, OSB Pro. When they prank called Shedeur, I thought that was a real call. I'm like, what is going on? But then I learned it was a prank call. And then, like idiots, not only did someone film Shador getting the call, which I guess I can understand. But then they filmed themselves making the prank call, which was totally
Yeah, I
stupid.
know. That's just the fucking idiot move.
Yeah.
Mind my language.
Yeah, no, they were idiots. They were idiots about it. Like, why would you film yourself making the call? Because then they can pin it on you, and then they find out it's the defensive coordinator of the Falcons' son. I mean, I hope
Like,
that,
come on.
yeah, I hope the
They're so
dad got mad at him. I
And
hope he got
also,
grounded at
you
least.
you must be crying. Like, you're falling in the draft, and
Oh yeah, what? It was totally embarrassing.
it can't
was-
get any worse.
Yeah, I do think the Giants might have had one of the best drafts. They were up there with Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart. If Dart and Skadaboo. I always want to say Skadabo, but it's Skadaboo. Yeah, Skadaboo. I mean, I think from a fantasy standpoint, they did well with running back with Skadaboo and Jackson Dart. Now, I don't know when Jackson Dart's going to start, though, because they have Jameis Winston and they have Russell Wilson. So, that's going to be a challenge. The thing about the drafts is you can give somebody a grade this week. I don't even get into this. What's your thoughts on the Bears draft picks? Oh, yeah, we talked about them. I'll go back to Chicago draft picks. I thought Chicago, hold on here. I thought Chicago did well on their draft picks. I think getting Loveland, I thought they were going Tyler Warren, but, getting a tight end, getting a wide receiver in the first 40 picks, Luther Burden, Colston, Loveland, I thought they did really well. Now, you got to
B+, I'd give them as a rating.
Yeah, you got to figure that. I thought they would go maybe a little bit more defense, offensive line with their top two picks, but it's apparent that they have an offensive minded coach. They get a really strong tight end and they get a really really great target in Luther Burden as their 39th pick. So yeah, I'm not I thought they did well. I wouldn't say it was one of the best overall. I mean, day 3 here, they might not have gotten, they picked up a running back. I don't know if Kyle Manangi from Rutgers. I mean, I know that I had read his name and saw that, but I don't know if he's going to be able to step in and take the place of Swift at running back. So that was my first concern there. But yeah, I mean, I thought the Bears overall did well. Like I said, I thought Dallas did pretty well. I thought Seattle did well. I thought New Orleans did not do well. I thought the Giants did really good, maybe the best. Philadelphia did. Your team, Nathaniel, did pretty good. But the thing with Philadelphia that I was very surprised by, here's their picks in order: linebacker, safety, defensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker. They had five of their five first picks were all defense. And maybe that's because they felt like they were thin because of the injuries. I know they've also lost a few people, but I was very surprised by that. They did not go for any offense. I thought they might go for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I thought they might go for a tight end or something.
And a tight end.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, a tight end.
To fill in the gap of Goddard.
Yeah, Goddard, he was okay. He wasn't, Laporta, he wasn't Bowers, he was, and I thought they might even go wide receiver because you just, you can't, you just need that. But they went defense again. And I think a lot of it, comes down from the coach. Now, Pittsburgh, some people are giving them high marks. I don't know. I said this earlier when I got on, it almost feels like Pittsburgh has something lined up with a quarterback. Maybe it's Aaron Rodgers, maybe it isn't. What team do you think will improve the most this year? I think Chicago improved the most. Now the Giants.
Think Aaron Rodgers is done.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling, but okay, so what? You have Mason Rudolph start for the Steelers? I don't get it. Like the Steelers and quarterbacks, I don't get at this point. I don't understand. They let Justin Fields go.
Does delay for when I speak.
Yeah. Oh, there is. Okay. Sorry. Justin Fields was what 4-2 as a starter. I thought he
So
did
if
pretty
I
good.
say anything like randomly, I meant to say it 5
Oh.
seconds ago.
B is good. Hey B, how you doing? Thanks for joining tonight. I just think that, you know
I
what?
just don't see Rodgers bouncing around teams for the last years of his career.
Well, I don't necessarily see it either. I don't know why the Steelers are letting him kind of get away with this. But what do you have, Mason Rudolph? Right now, their top option is Mason Rudolph, unless Will Howard is, you know, a superstar, Dan Marino or something, and we just don't know it yet. They just like I kind of thought they might pick Shedeur Sanders. I was hearing a lot of information about that, or in the second round or whatever it was, or at 21. That's what it was at 21 in the draft, but they passed him up. They passed him up in the second round. So, I for some reason it's not a burning issue with them, and with Pickett and DK Metcalf, you got to be thinking DK Metcalf is thinking, why the heck did I come over here? Why am I playing with these guys? Who's going to be our quarterback? Is he competent? Does he know what he's doing? So that, to a certain extent, that's the one thing that worries.
He wants to win.
Yeah, these guys want to win. Now, Seattle did pretty good. They got Jalen Milroe.
Did you watch that Bill Belichick interview?
No, I didn't. Why? What happened? With his girlfriend?
Oh, he had this shirt that was like.
Oh, it's all ripped. Yeah, it said Navy. It was all ripped.
It was,
yeah. He's an odd dude. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with it, but there's a reason the NFL teams didn't want to hire him as a head coach. So, but I actually thought that Seattle getting Jalen Milroe, I thought that was a really good. They got him in the third round. I thought it was a good pick because you have Sam Darnold for 2 years, I think it is, and you can really bring Jalen along at your own pace. And I think that's going to be important to him, as far as his maturation.
The difference between him and his girlfriend is 48 years.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? She's like 24 and he's like 70 something.
And let's say you're 55 or 50.
Yeah.
48 years younger is like dating a 2-year-old right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she's an adult. He's not dating a 2-year-old, but it's very weird. It's very weird. Yeah, Tampa Bay picks a wide receiver number 1, Emeka Egbuka. Yeah, Tampa Bay might have had one of the worst. Well, it's also like Green Bay picking 2 wide receivers in the draft. They already passed to 4. Tampa Bay actually picked 2 wide receivers. They have a wide receiver. This is their order: wide receiver, cornerback, edge, wide receiver. They picked positions in 2s: wide receiver 2, edge 2, cornerback 2. I would have thought that they would have gone in number 1 with a defensive player. Their defense needed it. Now they got 2 cornerbacks and 2 edge rushers, but they, in the first round they went offense, and they have 3 very high quality wide receivers, unless again they know something we don't. And McMillan,
unless they know something about Evans.
Yeah, like Evans' ankle didn't recover correctly, or he's gonna still be slowed, or no, I'm sorry, not Evans. I was thinking of Godwin, but Evans was hurt too. Or Evans might be retiring. If they know that, if they know something about Godwin or Evans, that could change everything. But I just thought it was unusual.
And they know that their 2 best wide receivers are going to be down. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, they could, but it just seems like a lot, at this point. And they can probably release a wide receiver as well, so it's not like baseball where you're locked into a contract with these guys. So I thought it was a little suspect for the to pick a wide receiver first, when to me it was clear they need defense. Now, people are giving the Titans very high marks for getting Cam Ward. They did pick up a wide receiver in the 4th and a tight end in the 4th, and a wide receiver.
You have gotten Cam Ward was by far the number 1 option.
Yeah, no, I mean, what they could have gone with, I mean, they could have gone with Travis Hunter. I mean, thinking they picked up 2 wide receivers, they could get Travis Hunter and he would be like a number 1 receiver, so but yeah, I think Cam Ward, I mean, again, I think it makes sense. But we'll have to see. The one thing I'm always saying is it's hard to judge a draft immediately after because you don't really know how a draft goes until it's like 2 or 3 picks away. They were even kind of, you know, the Bears and their picks. One of their picks came from the trade with Charlotte or with Carolina for them to get Bryce Young or whatever it was. And so was it Bryce Young? I think it was Bryce Young. Yeah. And so you really can't judge it until
I know
they get that final pick.
Drafts from a couple of years later.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, what are you going to do that way? I mean, I want to say Luther Burden was who they got from Carolina and Luther Burden's pick. So now they can, kind of close the book on who got what on that trade for Bryce Young. But the way that I look at it is we're really not going to know until about 2 or 3 years out. And then even 5 years probably is better. I do think linemen are usually a safe pick. All right. Because they're big, they're strong. They don't have as much, responsibility. They just block or they, keep people from, or they rush. They either block or they rush, so I don't want to say it's an easier position. It takes a lot of strength, a lot of concentration, but they're not money players, if you will. They're not players with the ball. When you go into tight ends, when you go into quarterbacks, when you go into wide receivers, it's a crapshoot to a certain extent. Probably, there was a story this week that said first round. There were, I think, since about like 2002 or maybe it's 2000. There's only been 4 number 1 picks in the NFL draft that won a Super Bowl. So being number 1. Hey, Gagan, how's it going, buddy? Hey, heart me, baby. Yeah, I think it was like 3 or 4 number 1 draft picks won Super Bowls. And so you can just tell that talent, it's hard to judge talent, and I've said before, 20 years ago, Jim Rome used to say the NFL draft is the biggest crapshoot, there is. Well, I think when he's saying that, a lot of it comes down to offensive players, specifically your fantasy players, the players that get the points in fantasy, the tight ends, the wide receivers, the running backs, the quarterbacks, those ones, maybe even the kickers a little bit. But you figure kickers, there's only really 32 professional, like people making big money kicking. There's only 32 of them. Hey, Gagan, just resubscribe. Thank you, Gagan. Way to go, buddy. We appreciate it. Thanks for your sub. So yay for Gagan. He's coming back around. I like to see that. But I just think that I especially with the quarterback position, the guys that we're talking about now, the thing about it is Shedeur Sanders might not pan out at all. He may not be a very good quarterback. He may be a veteran backup.
Is that a sideline fan shirt?
Yes, it is. It's a sideline fan shirt, baby. So that, and then one thing about it is, they've said that Shedeur Sanders was more NFL ready than Cam Ward was, but we'll see. All the speculation doesn't matter. We'll find out more in the fall. And for some of these guys, and even Cam Ward, it might take, a few weeks to figure things out. I mean, look at Bryce Ward's evolution this past year. He started the season, he was lousy. They put in Dalton. He sort of righted the ship. Dalton gets hurt. They put Bryce Young in. They make the decision not to go with the other guy, to go with Bryce Young. Okay, they didn't have to do that. Gagan sent Galaxy. All right. Thank you, Gagan. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. It's good to have you around again. And so the way I look at it is then Bryce Young comes back
That's
to
like
make.
$15.
I know, it's like incredible. I gotta send him a thank you and all that kind of good stuff. When does fantasy start? We're probably gonna draft around the middle of May. That is true. If you go to my bio in either YouTube or TikTok and you copy and paste that link, that's to our fantasy league. It's free to
Gaten is already.
Yeah, he's signed, but I'm talking to anybody else who might hear me or watch this because I forgot to make mentions of it. Yeah, I know you did that. I'm just trying. If anybody else, I guess it's just Gagan and you, Nathaniel, on there. So, but would love for you guys. We got to get more players. So if you guys know anybody that want to play, sign them up because I think the last check we had 6 or 7 more to go. And with ESPN, if you don't get the allotted amount, I don't know, they sort of won't let you sign up your league. It's kind of weird. So, or they make it harder on you. So if you have a friend or two that wants to sign up, would love to get them on, Gagan. So don't forget that. But thank you for the Galaxy. I really do appreciate it. Really, really do. And thanks for the sub. That's important.
On my brother's little league game, they were trying to eject him because he was pitching.
Well, I didn't hear you. You say that all again into the phone.
At my brother's baseball game today, they were trying to eject him because he was pitching too quick.
They tried to eject him because of why?
He was pitching too fast.
Oh, really? So you can't go too fast? That's crazy.
He needed to lob it.
Okay. Wow. Pitching too fast. I like when pitchers pitch fast. I want to get up there and swing away, baby. Yeah, I think the Bills did okay. I thought Baltimore did pretty good. They got a lot of, their first 2 picks were defense. Their 4th pick was defense, 6th pick defense. They did pick a kicker, which is always something surprising. So, all right, Gagan, you're going to get your friend. That's awesome. Yeah, the Panthers receiver. Would you be a good pickup? Oh,
get
would
all
he?
Your friends,
oh, would the Panthers pickup be a good receiver? Well, let's see here. Let's see. You mean Jimmy Horn? Or no, Ted McMillan. Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think Ted McMillan would be a good pick. I think Golden would be a good pick, but McMillan might be. McMillan, was he the first wide receiver picked? I can't remember. No, Travis Hunter was. Yeah, I think Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan, I think those are good pickups. Yeah, definitely. All right. I think Genty would be a good pickup. I think Omarion Hampton is a good pickup. I think Tet is a good pickup. I think obviously Hunter's a good pickup. I kind of stay away from rookie quarterbacks because they're unpredictable. Like that's sort of a philosophy of mine. I'm not saying you need to do that. Would you draft a receiver or a running? I would always, the trend at Gagan nowadays is to get a receiver before a running back. I'd like a receiver over a running back because I think receivers, if you get like a Josh Jacobs, if you look at Josh Jacobs last year, 100 yards rushing every week, a touchdown or 2 every single week. Like you could bank on him. Like literally, you could put it in the bank when he was playing just every week, week in and week out. Mixon with Houston was doing that at the beginning of the season and then just fell off. Everything, I think he got a little bit hurt maybe, and then it just dropped off and he wasn't doing that. But I look for running backs who are wildly consistent. Week in and week out. Like if they average 100 yards and another guy averages 105 yards, but one week he'll have 180 yards rushing, and then the next week he has 30 yards rushing. I don't like that player as much. I might pick him up because I have to. I go what do they do week in and week out? I want to know that I can slot in, 15 points every time I know that he's playing. But yeah, I tend to go running back. The league, maybe starting last year is going back to running backs. It was very focused on wide receivers. Wide receivers make a lot more money. If you look at the money wide receivers make compared to what Saquon Barkley made last year, he made a fraction of what the top wide receivers made. Okay. But I think it's coming back around. We're hearing about Saquon. If Genty is like the second version of Saquon, that's good. We keep hearing about Derrick Henry. I mean, that guy's in his mid 30s, late 30s. He's a monster. He's a beast to deal with. Robinson. Yeah, Bijan Robinson. Yeah, I would. If you feel good about him, I would. Off the top of my head, I don't remember his stats. I know that he had a great year. I think Saquon, Henry, Bijan probably were the top three. I thought Kyren came back late in the season, but there was a period of time that Kyren Williams with the Rams wasn't doing so well. And that kind of hurt me on one of my teams. Let's see. Seattle's running wasn't consistent towards the end. Mixon was not consistent. Cook with Buffalo, he's holding out now. He was really good, I thought. He had a really good season. Arizona's Connor, he was okay, not great. Aaron Jones did pretty well. I would say he was in that second tier underneath like Bijan, Henry, Saquon, and that. Chuba Hubbard's not going to put up the same numbers because they have Rico Dowdle. I don't know that they have Javonte Williams now with Dallas. They signed the Denver running back, but he wasn't very good with Denver. I don't expect much from the running backs with Dallas unless they make a move or something like that. I just don't expect much going on. The Chargers signed Najee Harris, and like I said, they put J.K. Dobbins. He's a free agent, unrestricted free agent. So if he doesn't get picked up, I believe the Chargers still can claim him or use him, but that's going to be a monstrosity. If I was Kansas City, I would pick up J.K. Dobbins right now. He had 905 yards in 13 games. That's better than either Kareem Hunt and Pacheco did probably on average. He still averaged 4.6, 4.7 yards per carry, so he was doing really well. Yeah, Bijan is probably a good pick. The one thing I'll say about Atlanta going into this season is Penix isn't a rookie anymore, but he's a very young quarterback. And I think it's going to be like this. I think it's going to be 2 good games, one heck of a not so good game. 2 good games, one not. Like there might be a little inconsistency, and that would be the only thing that would worry me about him moving forward, the inconsistency. The other thing too is Bucky Irving had sort of a breakout type of year, but are they going to use him the same? Is that offense going to stay the same? Has he solidified his position? It would seem like he has, but Tampa Bay also kind of worries me because they have 4 wide receivers now who could be, 1s and 2s on any other team. Between their draft and the 3 guys they already had with McMillan, Evans, and Godwin. Eli hits bombs. Knicks getting the W, baby. Oh yeah. When the Knicks are playing well, it changes everything about I think basketball because it gets New York involved. I love it. I think it's great. I love those Patrick Ewing teams when they would like go to the conference or the finals championship. I love those teams back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. They were fantastic to watch. That was
my dad always told me that Ewing is such a choke artist.
Well, yeah. Ewing didn't have a lot around him though. Like, yes, Ewing couldn't win the big game, but Ewing also didn't have a lot. He had John Starks around him. John Starks wasn't much, he really wasn't. There was no depth to him really. But I was a big Ewing fan. I was a big Georgetown fan back in the day in the 80s. But yeah, you're right. Your dad's right. He was a choke artist to a certain extent. He couldn't win the big games. But I like when the Knicks were winning and going to conference and or NBA championships. I just thought it made basketball a lot better. This year it looks like the Lakers are going to lose. My guess is OKC sort of just steamrolls into the finals. unless like Golden State gets it all together. Hey, Beto's here. Hey, Beto, what's going on? We got the whole gang. We got Gagging. We got Eli hits bombs. We got Beto.
5 points.
What's that? The Knicks are down?
Yeah, at the end of the third.
Yeah, but you know what? The fourth quarter, the thing about the NBA is if a team's close at the end of the third quarter, they can still win the game because the fourth quarter is everything in the NBA. It's not like college basketball. Like, you know, if a college basketball team is losing by like 15 points, they're probably not coming back. In the NBA, going into the fourth, they can come back and win. It just they can kind of turn it on and turn it off. And the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq used to do that all the time. I used to hate watching their games. Let's go, Beto. I used to hate watching those games because they would be down by like 15 after 3 and then win the game by 7. I'm like, they only played one quarter. Like they only played one quarter. I don't want to, it was just, I hated that, but they knew what they were doing. I guess that was their clock or time management, you know, or health, you know, like they talk about now. They just wouldn't play the first 3 quarters. So, and do you know why the NHL has 3 periods? The NHL has 3 periods because in 1910, they realized they used to have 2 30-minute halves. And they realized that the extra 10 minutes in the halves would like ruin the ice. The puck would get stuck. People would have problems skating. And so these Patrick brothers who are, you know, like I think there's a Patrick Trophy or something like that, or there used to be a conference. They decided to make it 3, still keep it to 60 minutes, but 3 20-minute periods. That's why they did it. I just watched a video on that today. So I thought that was interesting. I never really knew. I just thought it was like a Canadian thing, but apparently it was for practical purposes because I guess the ice, and they didn't have really nice Zambonis back then. So it's kind of tradition. They could theoretically, with the ice being a lot better, go back to 2 30-minute periods, but I don't think they're going to do that out of tradition alone. So, but overall on the draft, you know, we said the Giants did pretty good. The Bears, I think, did pretty good. I think the Bears off season, they've done really well. Good. Chiefs did well. Cleveland did okay. Dallas did pretty good. Somebody said the Lions won. People are giving high praises to the Packers, but they just keep. I don't know. The Packers have 2 wide receivers in their first 3 picks. They already had, you know, Houston did well. Jaden Higgins, they did well. They picked up another. They had 2 wide receivers in their first 3 picks.
I don't know why Green Bay would need more receivers because I think I remember this during fantasy season.
Yeah.
When people were asking you to start receivers on Green Bay, you were like, Love throws to too many targets, and I don't know why Green Bay got more.
Well, I think what Green Bay is, they wanted sort of a number 1, and they were trying to go after that. With Matthew Golden. I don't know if that's going to be the case. They also had, you know, someone else on their team, Detroit Lions. Yeah. People are saying that one guy on, I forget what site, they were saying Detroit won. Yes, Beto, you're right. When LeBron and KD and Steph and Harden and all those guys retire, it is going to, well, when LeBron and KD and Steph retired, it's going to be really, really sad. I mean, I understand Harden, but LeBron, KD, and Steph are probably the 3 top players, and LeBron and Steph are probably the top 2. And, you know, some say Steph's the best shooter ever. LeBron says, people say he might be the greatest player ever. You got to put him in the discussion because he's 40 and he's putting up huge points, you know, so yeah, it will be sad. Jacksonville did okay. They got Travis Hunter. The trade up I thought was good. What do you guys think? Did any team surprise you? I think Nathaniel and I talked about New Orleans. Was it New Orleans? Was it New Orleans? And we said they only had 5 picks, you know, that they probably really didn't do that well. You know, New Orleans, I don't think really helped themselves out very much.
No, I don't know if it was the New Orleans.
Well, let me see here. Was it Atlanta? It was one of those teams. I always sort of, yeah, no, New Orleans got a bunch of picks. It must have been Atlanta. I always sort of get those South teams. Where are we at here? Yeah, Atlanta had 2 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the seventh. They picked up two edges, 2 safeties, and an offensive tackle. So, they helped out. They got the 15th and 26th picks, and they helped out their defense, I guess, with those picks. But I don't know how great they did. And the last day, they only had 1 pick in the 7th round. So they did not do fantastic. But yeah, any other thoughts on the draft? I think the Lions, though, Chihim. I thought Detroit did pretty good. I think overall, though, the Bears are probably one of the most improved teams. Now, I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of people saying that they think the Giants are, going to be great this year. The only thing I'll say about the Giants is they were so bad last year. Now, they could jump up. The Texans did well. They had a good draft. Yes, the Houston Texans did well. I don't know that the Giants, especially, sort of like Chicago, they're in a really tough division. The Giants with Philadelphia and Washington, Jaden Daniels, and they have to worry about the Cowboys even if they're going to be any good. So, and the NFC North is you got Detroit, you got Minnesota, you got Green Bay, you got Chicago. I mean that's a pretty tough one there. But I do think Chicago did improve. Houston Texans had what I thought was a good draft. They got a lot of picks. 2 in the second, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh. They got Jaden Higgins in the second round. That's probably a steal that he dropped to the second round. I think he should play this year. He may not. Well, he's not gonna be the number 1, but he could take Diggs' spot, or probably even do better than Tank Dell. Although Dell did well until his injury. But yeah, I thought Houston did good. It was relatively balanced. They picked more offense. Wide receiver, offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, tight end. Then they had cornerback, safety, and defensive tackle. So they had 5 offensive players and 3 defensive players, but relatively balanced, and they needed to plug in some holes. They have a decent quarterback. They need a little protection. They picked up an offensive tackle with Sari, I guess. So overall, it was good. All right, guys. I guess that does it. I'm going to be on probably later tomorrow night. My guess is I'll be starting around 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. I have some meetings after work and stuff to go to and to be part of. So I'll be on later. And then Thursday should be the regular time. So I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Take care, everybody.